Only I notice you've been afraid. Tell me, perhaps. So I'm going to make this easy for you. Quan, I've seen you, looking at me. Sometimes it seems like you struggle to look me in the eye. And of course, Casimir is referring to all the times that Quan has found his companionship extremely stressful. I just wanted you to know, Quan, that it's perfectly normal to feel that way about me. Most people fall in love with me. It's sort of inevitable. I want you to know I don't judge you for that. I just wanted to get it out in the air so you don't need to die with regrets.
Juan's soul looks like it's left his body. Thank you for this conversation. And he's just going to start backing away towards whatever door there is nearby and try and slink out of it.
Hello everybody and welcome. We're a slightly reduced D&D Boyband. Matt is no longer guesting with us, but we're still a group of friends all like to play D&D Pretty Boys because apparently it's not fantasy and everyone's hot. My name is Jamie and joining me tonight are a group of fantastic D&D players. First of all, we have Ben as Mercy.
May thy knife chip and shatter.
May thy knife chip and shatter. And Luke as Arvis. Eski as Pod.
Hello.
Sai as Quan.
Hello.
And certainly last but not least, Clued as Casimir.
You're my specials.
Before we begin, we do have an announcement, which is that soon we are going to be putting a poll in the chat. We have been workshopping many ideas for the group, which despite playing for several months now, does not have an official name. We have come up with lots of different plays on Boyband, and we will be asking what are people's favorite. Do take into consideration that I will have to have quite serious NPCs introduce you as this name. So as you wish to torture me or not, please feel free to vote for the silliest. We won't necessarily need an in-character reason, but there will be a frown.
Can you imagine
There will be a frown.
speech someone has to say the word pussycat?
Also, if anyone knows my caters, let us know. Anyway, that's my only announcement, but I think we're good otherwise.
Yeah.
Cool. So obviously we're a bit in an arc, therefore there will be a bit of shopping here, which we'll handle very much out of character and out of roleplay. We will get to that. But as a reminder of what happened last session, you guys dealt with everything, making your way, all the loot and the chamber, making your way up top, realizing that the Whirlwind Lantern was a vessel of power, but you weren't sure how to transfer it for Quan. Resolving with Brom and Vazul and Nalos what was going to happen now that Malik had died. Brom, of course, left in a huff, threatening to go to Quan's home place and saying he knew where that was. Vazul has chosen to travel with you, Nalos as well. You have returned with Alara, victorious to Fort Valor, heralded as champions, given your reward, 10,000 gold pieces each, and attended a party afterwards where Fazul seemed annoyed about something, and despite all the character progress that has been made, got drunk and was inappropriate to Alara, not with Alara. Other things came to the parents, such as the Creditors Federation being particularly interested or seeming to have some knowledge of Pod. And that's pretty much where we left last session. So this session, unless there was anything other people wanted to carry off from the party, there are roughly 3 days between the party and the coronation. During this time, Fort Valor will be a buzz of activity. Guests will be arriving. There will be carnivals, shows. Many traveling vendors and merchants will arrive, which is why the items on display are so numerous. You do all have fresh money in your pockets with which to buy upgrades and buffs for your characters, as well as to distribute the loot you've got from Razor, which I don't think fully has been done either. But before all of that begins, is there anything else anybody wanted to address at the party?
So Atlas is just dusted, right?
Yes, which is also true. That's also maybe an announcement as well. Apologies. We are, of course, very grateful to Matt for guesting for quite so long and providing the emotional journey he did. Atlas, however, has left some gifts for all of you that I believe Matt has posted. But Atlas, perhaps we'll start there. Atlas saying his goodbye to each of you, one by one, and leaving.
Casimir was given these gifts to distribute, so I think he probably would have gathered everyone quietly and sort of handed out these little objects. So he himself is holding a rock that's kind of carved, a white rock that's carved to look like a pearl. I want to say what it does. It does a thing. Yeah. And everyone else has various things. I'm just scrolling up through player chat through our wall of bad boy band names and shopping lists. For Pod, you have a small plant in a vial, believed to encourage healing properties. Arvis,
thank you.
you are given a wooden carved rat statuette with a hidden compartment in it. You might want to look around it to try and find where that is. Quan, you have a wooden shield engraved with Tyr's symbol on it, a little token. And Mercy, you have a red metal coin with an eternal knot and tails sort of design. And these all do little things. So yes, he has distributed these probably quite somberly. He looks pretty upset, to be honest, having witnessed Atlas dust before his eyes. Yeah, so I guess that's where we are.
Is there like a visible sadness to Casimir?
Yeah, I think so. I think he started this party really exuberantly happy, like, you know, really high energy, eyes kind of sparkly. He looked like excited for a party in a way that like is not normal. And that's just completely gone now. He just looks quite subdued and kind of quite flat, I think, at this point. Not having had the best of times when he probably thought he was gonna have a great one.
So, Angela, at this point of time, would also be looking quite serious, having recently heard some of what Fazul dreams about, and some of the things he drunkenly said about the islands and Casimir and Quan in particular.
Oh, I forgot you heard that.
In the moment, Casimir, Octopus just kind of puts an arm on Casimir's shoulder and says, "It is right that we feel the sadness of a passing friend. But it was his time, and the time he was allowed with us ultimately borrowed. He knew that."
Not sad. It's not like I'm sad. I'm angry. My party was ruined. That's all. Sort of folds his arms.
It isn't over yet. But yes, I fear that there has been a shadow cast over it by some of the things that Fazul has said.
Leave it to him to ruin a perfectly good evening. Is Alara around? Is she looking happy and fine?
Elara looks fine. She's kind of shaking it off. She's very much center of attention. Lots of people want to talk to her at this party, so clearly, you know, dragged from side to side, partly by her father and responsibilities. Very much playing the hostess.
Much as this is to celebrate Alara, I was rather thinking it was to celebrate us as well. But what's there to be happy about? Zol's made a stink and Atlas has gone and died at our party.
I will say he didn't technically die because he was already dead. He's just, moved on to where he's supposed to be.
Dusted.
Well, we all become dust one day. It's not that bad.
Turned to ash like he thought I was the person that wanted to see that. I don't... Ugh. He probably leans over to the nearest waiter, grabs an overly full glass of champagne. And for someone who's adamant that he does not drink, you have seen him had a lot of flu this evening.
So I think and I apologise, our character, for this. But seeing this, Mercy very calculatingly asks the following question. So, Casimir, Azul mentioned that you see each other in your dreams amidst a darkened room with a black armoured figure who commands you to do things on his behalf, promising power and rewards.
He said that, did he?
Not in as many words, but
No, I doubt that.
is it true? Do you see him?
Yes, but I mean, isn't that a premonition of the future? Like you said, when I first glimpsed the weave, people start to see things out of nowhere. I assume it's that, and he just seems to have hijacked my foresight.
Have you ever seen the armoured man's face?
No, but I know it's him. Sort of
You know
like-
it's who?
Cool, I know it's him. It sort of feels like... I can't describe it, really. The figure is fully armoured, there's a helmet, but I just know if I flicked the visor back, it would be him. Kicking me out of the ring. Which
I
is
see.
ridiculous, because if it's a prophecy of the future, that will never ever happen. So I think we can just talk this up to collective madness, or something quite inane, I should think. I'm not worried. I'm sure all is well. He doesn't seem to think so, but he's stupid, for lack of a better word. So.
Juan, overhearing this conversation, you're possessed with a feeling of deja vu. These aren't events in the future. These are events that have happened before. You just don't know how you know that.
What event specifically are you referring to?
When Casimir talks about being in a ring with Fazul and being kicked out of it, and Fazul wearing heavy black armor.
This isn't overhearing. I think this is happening in front of everyone. This is a fairly open conversation.
Yeah, sorry, I meant upon hearing this.
Well, whatever he wants to read into his dreams about me, he is perfectly welcome to. Do as he likes.
Just a small clarification. Azul seemed to think that there were three of you. When you dream it, you believe that the figure in black is Fazul. You don't see Fazul standing separately.
No, I don't. There's no one else.
Well, insight check.
Yep.
Yes.
Should I contest that one?
So
You
close.
certainly can
Good
make
roll.
your roll, and then as we decided for PvP rolls, you get to decide what a character with your level of perception and persuasion would do against this insight roll.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very, very.
That's confusing
I got
me,
it.
though. Can I just roll?
If it makes it better for you, you can roll, but I'm never going to enforce something on you.
What we saying, Ben? I'll set my own DC on this one.
I got a 10.
Okay. I rolled and contested.
Yeah.
So I think maybe...
I also rolled and I got a 12.
Okay. He's pretty convinced it's Fazul. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So as you said... Well, as you said, dreams can be strange. Sometimes premonitions. Sometimes other things. The fact that it's so similar is odd, but the fact that it's not the same probably means it's nothing.
Right. And I shall... Well, premonition or no, I shall take it with a pinch of salt as always. The future can be changed. Fuck destiny. Fuck Severus. I do what I want.
Yes, and although I agree with some of what you said, Casimir, I feel like Vazul's behavior tonight has just shown that you should perhaps take a step back. I feel like Vazal isn't someone that we should be associating ourselves with after that display. I mean, Vazal helped us, yes, but I would like to remind everyone of his behavior when we first met.
He did kill my cat, yes.
Among other things.
Mate, here's this thing, and I'm not coming in defense of him. He is oafish, a lunatic, unintelligent. I have several more things I could pile on that.
Barbaric.
That's a good one.
Aggressive.
Aggressive.
Violent, yeah.
Yes, all of those are good ones. Sort of understand where he's coming from. It's the strangest feeling, but I think until now I've not met someone who really... I don't want to say thinks the same way I do, because I don't think he actually does think. But I think maybe our viewpoints align somewhat. I think when I say I'm going to kill the High Praetor, and I'm, damned if I don't, I think he gets it. And I think I understand when he says he's going to defeat his brother. I understand that whatever's driving him is quite painful, dare I say it. Not that I particularly feel sorry for him, but it's quite refreshing to have someone who shares my, I'll say it frankly, lust for power.
Vazal might share your experiences or your sentiments, Casimir, but I would be extremely worried for you should you decide to, well, choose the direction in which Vazal seems to be going.
You don't need to worry about me, Quan. I'm far more independent and have greater clarity of thought than he does, so... He won't influence me to do anything, at all. I make up my own mind. No one will influence me to do anything. He told me not to dote on you, and that is actually precisely what I plan to do, because until you're fixed, I see no other recourse than to make sure your energy problem is resolved, not least because it will kill us all, but also I don't particularly want to see you explode, so...
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you, Casimir.
And I know it's sweet that you're worried about me. I kind of looks around the group and... We'll talk later, don't worry. I wouldn't want to say it here. And he sort of pats Quan on the arm.
Your hand burns slightly.
How, on a scale of 1 to 10, how sick do I feel when Casimir touches me?
You don't feel sick.
Okay.
He's very stubborn about this one, that it might have hurt to pat Quan on the arm, but he goes back in for a second one, just to prove that it's fine.
Juan just like questioningly looks at the sizzling hand that is just on his shoulder or his arm. Oh yeah, if there's something you wish to discuss, that's fine by me.
Don't worry, it's nothing bad. You don't need to be nervous.
I have a side
Juan immediately
question.
looks nervous.
Hey, go ahead, Mercy. Sorry.
You're inside checking.
I have a side question.
Oh.
How or what is there any sense from onlookers or listeners that to the kind of degree of concern you are about Casimir, or how is this kind of coming across?
Me? What did you roll? Sorry for insight.
Oh, I haven't rolled.
Oh, okay. I guess then obviously like Quan looks relatively worried, like genuinely you'd probably expect someone to be in Quan's position to be more worried about himself right now, but you've noticed he's not been friendly to Fazal, and you get the impression Quan really thinks that Fazal is bad news and doesn't want anyone to have anything to do with him in the group. And also when Casimir says I won't let anyone influence me, including Fasul. You probably see a flash of like doubt cross Kwan's face in the way that when you look at a young child and they say, "I won't, eat the candy." That kind of thing. Yeah.
And that's completely fair doubt, by the way. He has absolutely no impulse control, and you have definitely spotted that by now.
Okay.
This does remind me of a serious topic, which is the fact that quite ostensibly we've not fixed our good Paladin, and he is still primed to explode at any given moment. I'm going to be honest, everyone, I'm sort of at my end on this one. It's out of my expertise, it's out of my training, my study. I know how to fix it, but it would evaporate me to do so. No offense, Quan, I'm not going to die for you. I'll get close, but I won't die for you. So really, I have something of a suggestion. We are to be meeting the Archons in a few days' time, who are paragons of the gods themselves. I was rather thinking one of them might have a solution or be able to weigh in a way that might be useful or perhaps save our good Paladin's life. And I would caveat this with the notion that I suspect most of them are more likely to try and steal whatever power Quan has inside of him rather than help. But it did occur to me that this is the collective energy of the souls of some thousands of dead individuals from the Stormlands, and I can't think of anyone who would be more interested in seeing them move on and put to rest than perhaps Raven Queen's representative. So I might suggest that we approach her Archon at the event and see if she might offer us some support.
Out of quick, lore question, Mr. DM. What's
Yes.
the relationship between Raven Queen and Kellenvor?
Positive. They're both on the same side against Merkel.
Yeah, that's what I would say. They're not rivals, are they? Just double checking.
No, Kellamore is a minor god under the Raven Queen's domain.
So I guess Pod's eyes would kind of light up as he was kind of drinking a little champagne flute with his, looking a little bit awkward because he doesn't know how to hold it. As he kind of goes, oh, the Raven Queen Archon, and then he almost without any sort of addition just disappears. He goes off as if he's looking for them already. The idea was just sudden inspiration before you've even had a chance to formulate a plan.
Is that a vote of confidence?
Also, how is Quan looking right now? Is he looking particularly resplendent? How's this manifesting?
One looks tired, slightly
Don't we
strained.
all?
True, valid. Skin is certainly pierced by light more than it was previously.
Is it kind of is it drawing any attention? Is he just walking around and he's kind of shiny?
Yeah, a little bit shining. Certainly there are some people, if someone who looked a bit too close is probably slightly concerned. Anybody who accidentally brushes Quan is like, ow.
Well, heat or static?
Heat.
Oh, I see.
Jamie, I've got a separate question about some of the stuff from the. So, on the loot document, obviously, it has some information which I would like to know whether our characters would know. I note that the bottom of the Whirlwind Lantern has some information about certain capabilities of it. Would we know that?
I think that's more lore specifically for you guys, given what it was going to be used for, so you could reason that out. Yes.
Okay, cool. So on that basis, then, Mercy suggests I have been also thinking about how the potential futures are. No one body is really meant to hold this, even a body as clearly resilient as Quan's, holding the entities that were released, whatever they were. But even so, the sheer potential force is affecting him. I wonder whether our solution lies in the reason that we went to the Stormlands, in the Whirlwind Lantern,
Well,
and what it was intended for.
I'm quite certain that we can channel it into the lantern and it will be a good container for it. And you're right, perhaps once it's there, we could think of something more wholesome to do with it than fire its avarice. We can, much as I'd like to, we could give the world a little bit of rain for a few weeks, whatever it is it does. It's just the starting the flow from Quan to the lantern would undoubtedly kill me. I could do it. Part of what I do as a necromancer is shifting this precise kind of nebulous life energy around. It's just the amount inside of Quan would vaporize me. Like I said, it would vaporize Abaddon themselves. It's that middle part we need help with.
As a weaver, we are also, I will not say expertise, but have some experience in the movement of futures and destiny, which Quan undoubtedly holds. Perhaps in some sort of collaboration, the conduit, as it were, of your magical transference could be shored up, reinforced.
I believe we could. I suspect the two of us wouldn't be enough. I think what I've come... DM, is this fair, right? Like, over the 20 days of travel, of constantly, looking over Quan and vaguely trying stuff, it feels like the middle thing we would need is something beyond us.
You would need some kind of either, you're unsure of exactly, you could start the process, but yeah, you'd either need something that grounded you or kind of a vessel that would make that easier, that transfer, or a different way of transferring that energy that is less, I'd say, corrosive to life around it.
Okay, but what Mercy's
Basically,
proposing here, does it feel like the two of us would be able to do it, or...?
Could certainly try.
Okay.
You're unsure.
Mercy, we could certainly try, but... Quan, no offense. You are of value. You're great. I don't want to die doing this. I would get quite far into nearly dying to help. Predominantly because honestly having this feat affixed to my name would be absolutely brilliant. But also, I don't want you to explode. I'm just concerned, Mercy, that we would both be turned to dust in our efforts. We could go a small step into trying and make sure if we go past the point of dusting, we cease immediately.
Can I look around, Jamie? Is anyone listening to the group apart from those of us who are here?
Make a perception check.
Can I use my passive perception instead? No, I'll roll. Pucker. 8.
You're definitely lots of people are trying to talk to Lara, but there are certainly groups standing nearby you attempting to overhear. But if you look at them, they quickly scurry away.
Okay, so I'll lean in and try and whisper as much as I can, and just say, stage whisper. We are on a time, I believe, when others of my order arrive and discover, for they surely will, that Quan holds the futures and the pasts and the power of the blood magic of perhaps a nation of people. They will do what I tried to do in the Arakocra Temple. At the cost of Quan's life, probably.
And everyone around him. It's a problem, and I don't doubt all the Archons are probably going to try it as well. At the ceremony...
So we are
We need to shore up around him. We can't let them approach him. If they look at him slightly too long, we slap their nasty little Archon wrists away, look them in the eye and say no.
What I mean is, I believe we have days to fix this, or my superiors will fix it for us. I'm sorry, Quan. It's just how it is. I would like to help you.
Thank you, Mercy. I don't expect anyone to die, especially helping me. I will do my best to hold on, and if we don't find any answers, I shall remove myself and travel as far away as I can.
There are some quite fast boats from Fort Valor. That might be your best bet.
Thank you.
Pod would be like injecting himself into various conversations among various noble-looking individuals, just being like, "Oh, this," like kind of laughing to someone's joke, and then be like, "Has anyone heard of the Archon of the Raven Queen around? You know, just anyone heard of it? Anyone related to her? Anyone? You know, just." And when people just kind of like shrug and are confused, he would just immediately just excuse himself and move on to the next group.
No. Everyone you spoke to has heard of the Archon of the Raven Queen.
No, but then he would specify more than just heard of. Like, you know, is anyone in, you know, contact?
They
with
all
them?
know
Like,
that
know when they're coming.
they are going to be
Work
making
for
an
them?
appearance over the next couple of days. Nobody works for them. Nobody's ever seen them
okay.
before or had contact with them. But the
Oh,
Archons
okay.
have been summoned. The
At some
Ebonwing
point, I
Guide,
imagine-
as is their title, will be on their way.
I see. And at some point, obviously, he'd probably walk past the, I forget the guy's name, the Creditors Federation guy, and he would just kind of like
Avoid
disappear
him.
off. Like, like kind of like almost walk towards him and just do like an awkward 180, just like, my keys on the car. I'll be
It was-
back.
It's Jarvis Fairwind, I believe.
Yeah. So at some point, if he ever looks like he catches eye contact with Jarvis Fairwind, he would just kind of awkwardly kind of do a 180 and attempt to.
It's okay. Jarvis seems to constantly be trying to get Alara's attention, but failing.
Such a slime. What does this guy look like, actually?
I just got to say, he's got a banging name, actually.
He's a half elf, kind of. You see, he's got blue hair with occasional kind of streak of white. Clearly dyes it quite a lot. Very prim, very put together, very polished, but like in like obviously trying a bit too hard way.
Be handsome.
Maybe if he was a bit younger and tried a bit less.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah.
Imagine trying too
It's a
hard.
bit
How cringe.
Yeah. Okay.
The whole thing's a bit
Fair
cringe.
enough.
Harvest will probably come back to the group from attempting to work the room and obviously struggling a little bit because he's a rat. So he's going to come back over to the group and just be like, "It's all this talk of somebody dying," and he's going to neck a glass of sherry and loosen his bow ties, his sad-looking droopy bow tie.
Quan's going to explode and kill us all, of course. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. And he's last drip and puts his glass down. You're still talking about Alquan here, eh?
Yes, we have a problem. Personally, I think we can't solve this one without the Archons. This does eclipse my ability, but Mercy, if you want to try in the coming days, I agree it's important. We will struggle if we're throwing ourselves at the mercy of the Raven Queen's Archon at the ceremony, but I don't see any other recourse other than smuggling Quan out and putting him on a boat tonight.
One slider. What's an Archon, mate?
DM, what's an Archon? Tell us.
So each of the preserves is ruled over by one of there are multiple gods per each preserve, but each plane of existence beyond this one is ruled by a singular god. 11 of them at this point, and each one of them has a chosen representative, an avatar, more or less, on the in Lukai, who represent them in matters, who try to further their will, and it's generally understood that gods don't get too involved directly. Their archons do most of the work.
So it's like their representative on Earth.
Yeah, pretty much. So like, Kellamore doesn't have an archon. but the Raven Queen does, because Celebrimbor is a god within the Raven Queen's realm.
Got it.
Doesn't mean they don't
Mystic
have followers or servants.
Just like an angel or something like that, or a devil. Why don't you just say it like that, eh? Archon
Think of them as a
sounds-
solar.
Yeah. Archon sounds like a very official word. I thought you were talking about getting the authorities involved.
Well, they are awfully officious individuals. A lot of them do hold. Jamie, am I capping if I say a lot of them do kind of have things to do with ruling things and being in charge?
Generally, they're slightly detached. However, their endorsement, their advice is often sought out. They don't hold official offices beyond their archonship.
They're more like
and also
religious,
the council.
religious figures.
They're
Like
more
the archbishop of
the final
Pizza
arbiter
slice.
or voice of the god. Yeah,
The
but they don't.
Pope.
But none of them, except for Abaddon, directly lead their preserve.
Mm-hmm.
So what do? Just float about and bless people?
Represent their god in matters of commerce, politics, discussion, advice.
And
Retribution.
them coming for this coronation is because they're here to
It's
give the
pre-based.
final word, right? They're like, yes, this is fine. She may be queen.
They choose to represent their gods and Dukai in this endeavor. Yes, the Archon Council is giving its blessing to this, and based on the cynicism some of you will have, they might have either decided to do this for legitimacy, or they might have been paid a great deal.
Right, that's funny.
Who is the Stormlands Archon?
Ah,
Where
an
the fuck is
interesting
this guy?
question, because they clearly haven't been around, which is something that, of course, you can ask them, and I do have an explanation for. It is not an oversight, so please do.
Okay.
You've just complete never asked.
And also, to
you
be clear, I'd
idiots.
like to make this thing as well. Archons is an office. So imagine your name was Tim and you were elected to be, or were chosen to be Archon of Talos. Your office title is separate from your name. So they all have a title that is separate from their actual original name, unless you've been it for several years and that is actually your name for whatever reason. So Talos's representation is Archon Tempestrial, the Gale Sovereign.
We're never gonna remember. So, okay, and
Okay, I can post this list. That's fine.
so and
Give them 9
last week,
hours.
Zor told us that, or told me that his brother is the Archon, Tiamat's Archon. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Right,
in
because
response to
Archon.
in response to Archon's Casimir just goes like Saul's brother, it's Tiamat's Archon, which is hilarious. Imagine having your brother be the
Jesus.
representative of God. No wonder he has such an inferiority complex.
So, and just to
Makes
clarify as
so much
well,
sense,
for those of you
really.
who, before you get into that, because Ben asked a very good question, Lilith was never the representative or Archon. She was the actual leader of the Preserve. So she was the leader of the Mystic Academy and the elected leader. The Archon was a separate position. So there
Kill
is
the Archon.
an Archon who was, if you remember, was visiting the Immaculate Ecclesiarchy when Lilith ascended, and in the history of Dukai was then killed.
Can I
That
ask,
was-
is an Archon in that case, are they more of like a top-down or a down-up figure in the sense that are they like an actual like deity being, or are they, the Pope who is supposedly? Do you know what I mean?
Imagine if they're the Pope. If the Pope was granted a portion of God's power,
Yeah, got it.
and
What do you mean
They're
if?
not like
Well,
the Pope isn't granted a portion of God's power.
What do
You
you
can't
mean?
disprove
We're
that.
not into a theology discussion. The Pope
Now, what does a blessed
You don't know
that. And smite people. To my knowledge, if he did, I might be a Catholic.
To be honest,
I would be,
if
I
you
think.
could do that, I think a lot of us would be a lot more convinced than we are currently. But
Word.
He was granted eternal youth and life, sign up.
I would be
So,
asking for
okay.
my portion.
And for context, how those Archons are selected and who they are relatively famous throughout all of Dukai. These aren't secret hidden people. They are very much the face and representative of that god and that section of Dukai to many people. The one that is most infamous, and the only one that leads their preserve as both political and religious and avatar of their god, is Abaddon, who leads Abaddon's empire, hence giving it the name that Quan was stationed to watch and protect and not allowed to escape because they represent Tharizdun.
which is the
evil god.
abyss, which I assume nobody
How,
knows.
how do people become Archons?
Well, that depends, depending on the god and the selection process. All of the or what you've been told in the campaign, is that there is a tournament every year called the Tournament of Scales, in which representatives of the Flame-Based Syndicate and a Tiamat fight. That is what Fazul is training to win.
I see.
I can't believe I've never asked this question, but where the fuck is the Stormlands Talos Archon?
Where are they?
And why aren't they at this council? And why don't they have a say in like the establishment of this new kingdom?
Yo, this is some in-character question, man. Drop these big
Honestly,
bombs.
Talos doesn't give a fuck, right? Like,
Talos just doesn't care.
Talos don't care.
I will say that if you'd been... Some
Paying
of
attention, which we're not.
Atlas's story might have correlated to the fact that, given that the Aarakocra and the Goliaths clearly used to be the favoured people of Talos and aren't anymore, and this was their land, maybe Talos's allegiances have switched to a different race or species that has arrived at his door.
Shit.
And he doesn't particularly care about the backwater swampland that is the Stormlands.
Right.
Fucking
Maybe
Talos.
the floating palace
Floating
cloud
figures.
giants or storm giants are the favoured people.
Sure. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Telling me that Talos is racist. Is that it?
Talos.
Not surprised.
She doesn't care about
The chaotic
swamps.
evil god of storms might not give a shit about a backwater swamp.
I'm sorry, I still got to praise Talos. He helped me out in my one shot. Talos is racist.
He's racist, but he's all right by me. You know, it's just.
So yeah, and
He's
this-
racist.
Saying he's never
just not-
discriminated
just
against
not
me
for
personally, so who am I to judge?
You know.
yeah, I think in this
He doesn't like-
conversation. Go on.
So where were we in conversation? Because hello, law bomb drop. Just enjoy, but also where are you guys talking? Your characters know most of this, by the way.
Yeah, I think
I know that's why it's been lowballed. Yeah.
Casimir just like very casually drops, Thor's brother, the Archon of Tiamat. No wonder he's got such a big inferiority complex.
What is
That's
the
amazing.
surely Pod would actually know who the Archon of the Raven Queen is? So what's their name?
Give me 2 seconds.
I'd be very surprised if you didn't know.
No, that's fine. Yeah. She is. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through the list of descriptions and names, which I need for a reason. Yeah. Archon Noctivale, the Ebon Winged Guide.
Are they known for being difficult, nice, approachable, rude,
That's probably
standoffish?
slightly beyond. She is known for being kind.
Are
Could
they
you
hot?
spell-
Give you that bit of information.
Oh, the hell. Yeah.
Noctivael.
Eibal. Noctivale, the Ebon
Ebon
Winged
Winged
Guide.
Guide. Much of the battle of the domain of the Raven Queen is between those who are responsible for the gentle passing on, the transition of moving on, and the rest of spirits to the restlessness, to the violent aspect of death. The Raven Queen has won, and previously won, against people like Merkel and Baal, who are still fighting within their domain against her. But Aminvor is one of her allies, so it makes sense that Archon is kind, because they represent the aspect of death that comes for us all.
Yeah, the good part.
Does she
obviously.
vibe with necromancy? Is this going to be a
No.
problem?
No, absolutely not.
Right. Keep that one quiet.
Don't mention it.
I'll keep that one quiet. Okay.
I guess to bring it back in character for a minute, after all of that subtext.
My TED talk will be available.
Arvis will just say, Archon, I ain't like, just a bloke, right?
Well, a just bloke empowered by the prime deity of their preserve, sure. I mean, they bleed, they die.
Well,
Bloke.
only some of them. When you're the living embodiment of God, appointed divinely to be the representative and arbiter of all their principles, sometimes different rules apply.
Yes, I mean, Abaddon is famously immortal and has sort of ruled over their empire since, well, DM, how long is it? It's a long time, right?
There are no recorded histories of Abaddon not ruling their empire.
Since time immemorial, so, you know, if they're all on the same ranking system, they're all quite impressive, I should think.
An Archon
So
is
as-
not subject to the weave.
So as Pod's walking around asking people, that it would be by first name basis, as if like, have you seen Noctiville? Have any of you seen Noctiville?
Archons are subject to the weave in the same way that gods are.
Okay. I take that back.
Oh.
Remember, the weave is the great compromise between the gods. So they are bound by it.
So well, hold on, for context, how long until the Archons arrive? Allegedly?
3 days.
3 days? Alright, cool.
So
Like,
anyway,
Pod would kind of come huffing back to the group and he'd be like, turn to Quan and he'd be like, okay, so don't explode for 3 days and we've got this. Absolutely fine. Don't worry. It's all good. Dr. Vale will sort this out. I believe in it. Don't worry.
I'm not sure whether
She'll know
that's
what to
in
do.
my control, but thank you, Pod, for the reassurance.
No, Pod, before you ran, I was just saying, in 3 days, other weavers will arrive, and then we will be out of time.
Out of time for what exactly?
we can tell them to wait before they shear Quan. By the way, won't they be trying to shear me as the aberrant in the room?
Yes.
We're just going to have to tell them to get in fucking line until we've had to talk to Noctivale.
Could you ask them to just like try and postpone the shearing to the evening and we'll try and do Noctivale in the morning?
I mean, they can't
I have
shear
a-
Quan in sight of everyone. You'll kill everyone. That won't be good.
Knowing what
You-
you know, Mercy, I have a question for you. Should your superiors make an attempt on my life or Casimir's life, where do you stand? Will you help them?
Oh, I didn't. I was going to say I will be standing wherever I will be standing at that time. But as you mean whether I will pick a side, as it were, likelihood is I believe in the weave.
But you also seem to believe in us.
I do. You've surprised me, and I don't wish your ends to come, but like the tide, ends do.
Rather
Mercy,
than a matter of feelings, Mercy, I'm more talking of should anything happen to me amongst the Archons and some extremely powerful people, and I imagine a lot of innocents, could you in good conscience let that happen? I mean, we could wipe out the entirety of the Stormlands for all we know.
You're right. It's difficult. For a long time before certain things, we took a different approach to aberrants and rogue elements of creatures within the weave. But since, well, the ascension of Lilith, the prudent doctrine has been to act cautiously with greater swiftness and more brutally.
Well, the way I see it, Mercy, I would never ask you to turn away from your faith or your practices, but you would do me. Well, you'd give me the dignity of telling me, should you decide that that was what your course of action was, correct?
Absolutely. I don't know whether I would even participate in such an action. Likely you would destroy me. It is not the plan to waste his disciples. However, I'm trying to explain that to my order, things like you, and I mean someone with destinies upon destinies heaped on inside them, or things like Casimir, these are not tolerable, according to the dogma of my brothers.
But you've chosen to take a rather different stance, which seems quite apart from how you were when we first met you, Mercy.
I see. I will say in all of this, you are tinged slightly with nerves, given what you know about your own current situation with the weave as well. But however you want to portray, that's up to you.
I probably won't talk about myself because
Yep, fair enough.
I might not be killed, but I think the Aberrants.
Dare I say it, you're in danger of developing something of an opinion of your own.
I think Mercy, like, as you say that, Mercy, what's the word? Like flinches, like they've been struck. No,
No?
we are only as we are commanded.
And yet you seem to be pondering taking a different route to what's commanded. And last I remember, it was Mercy, the individual, who fought Razor in the Stormlands, who chose not to shear Casimir Crossley, the vile aberrant. The decision has been made. And meeting your fellow weaver, the other creepy one, seemed to me that you diverged somewhat on that opinion. That rather speaks to me of you having your own idea of things. Am I wrong?
You're wrong. An easy mistake to make when you don't have the view of all the future like I have.
All the future, I might.
We do only as is planned and foretold. And whilst we have taken a more merciful approach to immediate shearing after the initial failure, destiny of you and Quan must ultimately come to pass. And I think you definitely get a nervousness and a kind of affront.
What face is Mercy wearing right now? Atropos, right? Or is it
Atropos,
Amaranth?
yeah. No,
no,
it's the party one, right?
Oh, are we still at the party? Yeah?
I
Yeah.
think at the
party?
moment we're still claiming.
Okay,
Yeah,
then
I
I'm
think we're
gonna
just
use the
having
wrong-
this with champagne.
Yeah. So it's like it's Amarathia, perhaps a face you're slightly less accustomed to, but like a high cheekbones, like bleach blonde, long, straight hair, wearing this long red gown.
Doesn't it bother you, Mercy, Amarathia, that it was Mercy who fought Razor? This is the party to celebrate Mercy, and yet it's Amarathia standing here. I was thrilled to have a party for me. I've never had this experience. Every party I've been to, I've had to wear a disguise for years, a solid decade. I couldn't once talk to somebody with my own face or know that it was my own smile that was charming people. It's awful. It erodes who you are. It's thrilling to finally get to be me and wear silly outfits and sparkle at people.
It's kind of you, Casimir, but we are not the same. You are a person,
Clearly.
I am not.
I'll leave you to think on that one in the context of you clearly having your own thoughts and opinions, and when you decide what those are, like Quan was getting at, please do let us know if you're going to try and shear us.
No. As I've said, I would like to try and save Kwan before the coronation in 3 days' time.
Thank you, Mercy the person. The questions.
Okay. Is there anything else anybody would like to say to each other before the party wraps up? There will, of course, be roleplay opportunities for the next 3 days.
I mean, I think I'd probably like to get Juan on his own, if such a thing is possible.
Indeed, now that Ilara has taken the
Yeah.
cue from Quan.
Rushed.
Yeah, so I think he'll probably sit. Juan, a moment, please. What I was alluding to earlier. You don't mind, do you?
Are we still at the party or like where?
Yes,
where
for
is
now.
this?
Found a
Still at the party.
quiet corner, I guess. We've stood somewhere else, so we've not just stood in the same place, talking to the same people for an hour.
Yeah,
Um,
you've all been mincing and mixing.
Mincing.
Mincing?
Yeah.
I don't
Is that
mince
not-
words, Jamie.
Okay, sorry, apologies.
In the spirit.
Yeah.
Go on.
Oh, sorry. It's a logistical question from Arvis to the party. If this isn't a good time for it, we can continue.
Maybe logistics off. It was I don't know.
Basically, it was Arvis has accumulated some precious stones in his time adventuring with each of you. They are worth a certain amount of gold. However, he also recognizes they are useful as certain pieces, otherwise known as components, in spells. Should you wish to know the components, please press 1.
Why chat us?
What?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that. Could you say that again?
Ah,
That's
shit.
got triggered.
It's one of these. One, tell us.
Press 2 for main menu.
Fuck's sake.
I'm gonna roleplay a Quan.
Please, can we hang up?
I'm sorry,
Summary.
I can kick Luke.
No, please don't. No, the other place.
Summary, like, I've got some emeralds and some rubies which I can flip for some peas so I can buy some magic items. However, if this is like crucial shiatsu for people, like components for people's spells, then let me know.
I think it's diamonds what
I think,
we need.
yeah.
I think
There's
it's
one of yeah.
Damn.
We'll do that during the shopping session, which will be happening. Apologies to everyone.
Just want people to know.
Okay. So I think he takes Quan to the side and maybe makes small talk about how it's fine to, he'll be saved, all will be well, don't be afraid, etc. And looks at his champagne flute and then looks up and says, "Look, there is something quite serious I want to talk to you about." And I said, "It's nothing bad. Of course it's not bad. It might be a difficult conversation for you, though." Only I notice you've been afraid. Tell me, perhaps. So I'm going to make this easy for you. Quan, to not mince words, I've seen you, looking at me. Sometimes it seems like you struggle to look me in the eye. The way you sort of uncomfortably shift and swallow in my presence. How you don't know what to say to me. And of course, Casimir is referring to all the times that Quan has felt disgusted and sick in his presence and has found his companionship extremely stressful. Casimir doesn't know. I just wanted you to know, Quan, that it's perfectly normal to feel that way about me. Most people fall in love with me. It's sort of inevitable. I want you to know I don't judge you for that. I'm remarkable. I'm beautiful, intelligent, determined. It's sort of par the course. And I just want to make it perfectly clear. I do care for your happiness, not least because you may die in a few days. I just need you to know that what you want is not a good thing for you. Honestly, being with me would be the worst thing imaginable for you. I only really engage with people romantically if there's transactional value in it, and I just can't see that. You. Evidently, because I'm more interested in you as a person than Quan the object. I just wanted to get it out in the air so you don't need to die with regrets. Does that help?
Quan's soul looks like it's left his body. No, Quan just stares at you like with an open mouth for a good 3 to 4 minutes, and
3 4 minutes is a long time.
yeah,
Casimir just sort of nods and says,
in
don't worry.
absolute silence.
I'll give you time to process. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here for you. Not romantically, but I am here for you.
I don't know what impression I've given you, Casimir, but that is entirely not the not the case. I would never want to make you feel as if I wanted something from you. I just very much worry for you and your well-being, and I do care for you after this time, but he just goes silent again.
No, it's fine. You don't need to admit anything to me right now. Honestly, I'm having this conversation, so you don't have to. It's fine that you're not ready to say it. You don't ever really have to be. And I know that you want me to stay away from Vazul for obvious reasons, but listen, I can look after myself, and obviously if that hurts you, then just don't worry about it. It's transactional. I'm going to use him. It's fine. Don't worry.
Can I roll an insight check to see how genuine Casimir's being, please?
Go for it.
That's a 16.
So I think you think he believes what he's saying. I think you can tell there is an immense amount of cognitive dissonance here. But you think he believes what he's saying?
Okay, but specifically, how genuine is he being? He might believe this, but is what he's saying about everything else, how he feels about Quan, is that genuine, or is this just does this seem really superficial?
No, and he says that he cares about your well-being and your existence, and he's actually more concerned with that than transactional value. That does feel genuine.
I don't know what to say.
I know.
You're not trying to... This today wasn't some kind of joke you have with Alara, is it?
Alara? What do you mean? Oh, did she? Oh dear.
No, never mind. No, never.
You didn't? You didn't reject her on my part, because I want you to know that if you rejected Alara because you have feelings for me, don't reconsider. That's fine. You shouldn't lie to her, but that is a shame for her. I mean, it makes perfect sense, but that is a shame for her. I should hate to have me as your romantic rival, actually.
I rejected Alara for the obvious reasons, and I'm sure you will take that however you will take that.
Yes.
Casimir, I thank you for this conversation, and he's going to look extremely uncomfortable, and he's just going to start backing away towards whatever door there is nearby and try and slink out of it.
Sleep well tonight, Quan. And he has the smile of someone who feels like they've just done a really good thing.
And on that cognitive dissonance, we'll be taking a break for the next 10 minutes. If there is anything else left at the party, message me in the break from the people in the group. Otherwise, we will move to shopping immediately afterwards to the stuff that I messaged about. There will be some interactions, and then we will move to the coronation. Do decide on the shopping as well as vote on the name of the group, which will be decided, I believe, currently.
No,
Where are
don't
we going?
spoiler
I'll
it.
post-
Don't spoiler it.
I'm saying currently, so people can change their mind or vote again.
Just say
or...
currently there's a leader. I don't want to know what the current leader is. 'Cause
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
like,
Currently, there is a leader.
Okay.
You can vote again. There is a leader currently. It's quite a strong one. So we'll catch you all soon, and we will be back in 10 minutes.
Can you
At 10.
share the link again? I want to see that.
Bye. See you soon.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Hello. As always, apologies for things I did break. Some people have deliveries, and others were doing shopping, which we can now do in session. However, there is one final thing we wanted to do. Arvis, did you want to describe your feeling at the party?
I think Arvis was going to. Originally, I thought about approaching Ilara. However, she's probably rather busy and a bit overwhelmed. So, Arvis will approach Casimir. And Arvis will look a little bit. What's the word? A bit detached, a bit dissociated, but looking kind of into the distance. Again, it's not just a sort of ruffled bow tie at this point. It's full on like kind of Bullingdon Club, but just untied, like either down the side of the shirt, just an open bow tie.
You look how I feel.
Yeah, mate, and I feel how I look also.
Cheers
You
to
know,
that.
I mean, you're a rich cunt, right?
Where is this going? Continue.
Nah, mate. You know, if I was gonna, ask you to make an investment, I'd be finer about it. What I do mean is that, deep down, I've always looked at these rich bastards and thought, what scoundrels. At the same time, I've always thought, well, if you can't beat them, join them.
Go on.
But they really are bastards, eh?
Here's the thing, Arvis. I wish I was, but I'm not one of them. I don't have a penny to my name. I really don't. I came from nothing. I am nothing. I amount to precisely 0. I lived in a cupboard for 6 years of my life.
Mate, I'm not buying it. All you sound like you sound and dress like you dress, mate. Come on. You expect me to believe all that?
Believe it or not, it's true. I lived in a very nice cupboard. It just didn't belong to me.
Well, so rather esoteric, but dare I say it sounds rather familiar to how I feel right now, in this moment here. I don't know. I assume there would be more glamour,
And he points to probably a very dishevelled, kind of shorter, rotund, upper class individual celebrating.
There normally
Well,
is.
I'm hardly a nymph myself, you would say. And he points to his face.
There normally is
in
more
my
glamour.
appearance.
I've been to a lot of these. In Sacramar, mind, and Varsala has a particularly glamorous upper echelon, I will say. I think it depends where you are in the world. They really care about appearances there. But here,
Well,
not so much.
Well, I will waylay my current feelings when I see them acting as you describe. Currently, it's somewhat not disillusioned. Again, I knew they were fucking bastards, mate. But I expected a little bit more panache, a little bit something more. Eh?
I will say, to be honest, this is quite a disappointing party. I will say the snack spread leaves something to be desired. I will say the quality of the vintage is abominable. I understand why this party might have made you depressed. It rather has me, for different reasons, but I also think the event itself is quite sad and we deserve better.
Right. Well, it's good to get some perspective from somebody like yourself. You know, a posh, somebody like yourself.
I've at least seen it, yes. No, this is a bit shit,
Well.
I concur.
Well, I don't really see much point in hanging around. Unless, DM, I would like to make a little investigation around the room to see if there's
You're gonna try
anybody
a pickpocket?
looking. Well, if there's anybody looking a little drunk, a little loose, you know, like and drunk and wealthy, and not like the fucking bee's knees in the room, not like the Don Corleone who's got the serious P's and everyone knows who everyone knows, but you know,
Sure.
some like
You can make an
D-lister.
investigation check.
Okay, let's drop a little D-lister investigation check. See what comes of it. And we receive a mild 13.
Okay. Certainly, as the night goes on, some people are drinking. You're not sure of entirely. You obviously stay away from Alara, her family, people who seem to be talking to her, focus on the edges of the party. You're fairly confident in your mark, but I'd say that being found out has worse consequences than otherwise. But you may attempt either a stealth roll, sleight of hand, or persuasion, depending on how this is going to go down.
Yeah, and on that knowledge, I was just gonna leave it.
Okay, fair enough. So we will now do shopping. I am going to hard cap this. You guys have until 25 past. The rules are: items are available or unavailable. We'll say more like half past. You have much of the world's merchants are flooding here for the coronation. That is why so many magical items are available. You each have 10k. You can do it as they wish. To cut things short, you have a DC of 17 to get a discount. Each individual persuasion roll is separate. You can use +8, which I think is the highest you have amongst all of you for that roll. If you get 17 to 23, you have a 10% discount. If you get over 24, you have a 25% discount. That's the max it will go. I sent some items. Some people have done it in advance. I think the group have mostly decided, but obviously talk amongst yourselves, get this sorted, and tell me what is happening, and obviously tell everyone who is watching what you are getting. Go.
So a lot has been rolled in the break after people's selection, so I think it might be worth checking in with everyone, making sure we rolled for the right things.
Mm-hmm.
Ben, as the master of the list, would you so oblige?
Sure. So, I guess, Jamie, what does this bountiful seller of amulets of health?
No.
What are
There
they?
are
Oh,
so
bye.
because no. There is no RP going on. You are doing this. There are multiple vendors of multiple magical items who are on their way here to sell their goods to the great and the many who are coming to Elara's coronation. Archons have followings, as do many other people. So there are 3 amulets of health available should you want them.
Great, and we do.
And we do, and we buy them.
Yeah.
I guess.
Okay, these are the so
Also-
Mercy is obviously has portents available. I believe the plan is for Mercy to use your portents on these purchases specifically, as they are 8,000 each.
Mhm.
Yes. So Casimir has volunteered to be doing the finagling of the bargain, not least because he's well used to having to do it, but also the spell Borrowed Knowledge allows him to gain proficiency in something that he is not proficient in, as he empowers himself with the knowledge of the local dead. So he will spend the afternoon getting tea on the shopkeepers, learning nice things he could say to them. Is one of their wives sick? Has one of their kids just gone to college? Did he cheat on his family? All this. So it is with this kind of knowledge he goes in and chats quite amicably to the shopkeepers to wrangle our discounts. So I believe we have 25% discounts on our 3 amulets of health, which we feel great about. And those are going
Yes.
to...
So
Mercy,
bear in mind to
Quan,
take
and
this out
Philip.
of... Yes, so if you, in theory, you guys are using that money yourselves. So 25% discount on 8k means you are paying... Someone's already done the maths, but...
Ben's done the maths. It's spreadsheeted, I believe.
0.75. You are paying 6,000 each for these. So
Mhm.
Quan, Pod, Mercy, minus 6,000 from the 10,000 you received, and that is what you are getting.
Technically, Mercy has 20k because Pod gave all of his gold to Mercy, so Mercy's actually in charge of all of the spending.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Pod would have, like, upon leaving and giving in, then Mercy would be like, Pod, I have your gold. He would have turned and just gone, yeah, get. And he would look, and his armor's kind of completely torn to shreds. Like it hasn't been repaired. It's just torn to shreds. He's like, maybe some new clothes and whatever else you feel like. as he disappears off, still asking everyone in the town if they have seen the Ark of the Raven Queen.
Mercy's eyes again flick white as they read the future, and they foresee the possible futures where Pod actually did turn around and actually wanted to ask for an amulet of health and some magical plate mail, but in this one he did not. Thank goodness for that.
Okay, so we have 3 amulets of health. What else are being bought?
What's next on our list? That was... I don't remember.
Casimir.
Yes.
The Arcane Grimoire.
Yes, he had 3 purchases he wanted to make for himself. Number 1 is the Arcane Grimoire. He would have found the spookiest one he could. Ideally, DM, one assumes representatives from the City of the Dead are here. He wants one of them. Grimoire is a spooky word, so he's going for that.
Comes from spooky
Yes,
people.
absolutely. Indeed.
Spooky books for a spooky guy. What discount did we get on him? I don't remember.
What did you roll?
What did I roll, Ben?
I just put down 10%.
All right.
10%.
It
So
was
it's
a 10%.
4,500 is what you get.
Yep.
Shopping sessions are hard.
We've kind of pre-maths this one, Jamie, so this is kind of all done. The next item he wanted was a ring of protection, mindful of the fact that he has had the shit kicked out of him quite a lot in the last 2 months, and despite being
Hold on,
a wizard...
as Mercy just sat there like Doctor Strange, just like
Yeah. And I reckon
seeing the futures where we didn't get discounts.
Because we're Mercy have like a
figure
joint...
out the perfect future.
We have like a joint accountancy sheet, and we're like waging against the future.
Yeah.
This is the one future where we can afford everything we want.
Yeah.
How is this my D&D game?
Yeah, the second item was my ring of protection, because he's been punched so much, and despite being a wizard, always ends up in melee.
Okay.
So that was the next
What's the ring of
one.
protection doing again?
That's Casimir's. Pod, you're getting amulet of health. Is there anything else you're trying to find?
Yeah, with the remaining gold, which obviously Mercy has, so it would be a kind of a Mercy roll, would be just some +1 half plate, which I think should be within budget considering the price of the amulet.
Yeah.
Do you want me to roll for that? Or...
No, we've rolled them
You've already
already.
rolled,
no?
So
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
the
yeah.
easiest thing is just to go down the list, to be honest.
Yeah.
Ben, what was next
You
on
going?
our...
So after that was the item that Arvus wanted, which were the Gloves of Thievery, which Casimir managed to secure a tasty 10% discount on, so another 4,500 for Arvus. After that, we come to the Plate Boys, who, thanks to their delicious discounts from convincing Casimir, we got one of which was no discount, but it was only 3,000, so okay. And the other we got 300 gold piece discount for 10%. So Quan unfortunately has to pay full price. Pod managed to get that little 300 gold discount, so 2,700.
I think we did
There.
say that where we're getting big collective savings on the amulets, we're going to use that to front people's other purchases. So Quan can still afford his full price thing. We'll just take that 1,000 out of the amulet discount and put it in that.
Yeah, like in the scheme of things, that 300.
Oh, I
is
thought you
pretty-
said the armor was 3,000.
Yeah. So the
Yeah.
amulet was 8. Yeah, so that total was 11,000. So if the extra 1,000 needed, that would come out of the discount.
Oh, I thought there was a 25% discount on the.
Yeah, there was. So yeah, that's that discount doing that one.
The numbers add up. The accountants have got it.
We can check the bank balancing, but I believe that the maths has been mathed, and we can make sure everyone has the appropriate amount of money at a later date. But we are sure we can
trust
afford all
everyone.
these items.
And then what extras just shoved into diamonds for potential ramifications?
Yes.
I have a last minute question.
Oh no.
Remind me if there were the gloves of giant. What a max for strength out to 19 bad boy. If there are any of those available still.
Well, that's an 8k, so you'd have
Yeah.
to. That would basically be your
Wipe
main
out.
purchase.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have two left.
If
Two what left,
you,
sorry.
Well, plus whatever gold you already have as well, though. Doesn't Arvis have a bit more because he sold some shit?
Yes, so after the 3 items I'm purchasing, I still have not quite the 8k, but if there's a decent discount, I can get this too.
What? How did you have so much money?
He's been like taking everyone's money the whole time. He's
Yeah.
just
Arvis
been
has been doing
doing
crime.
Oh my
doing
God.
crime. He's the standard
occurred.
rogue.
All right. Do you want me to
No,
roll for the
not the
gloves?
standard rogue, not the standard rogue Esky, using the
Sorry.
crime roll tables to secure hundreds, if not thousands, of gold pieces.
Yeah.
Would you
Beyond
like?
this,
Would you like me to roll
scavenging.
for your 8k gloves?
Yes, please. Let's
What
see
do you
happens.
have left over?
I have 7,218 left over. Slightly more like that.
So we need a 10% or more. Okay, that's doable.
I can guarantee a 10%, I think.
Oh, just do that.
Or
then.
you can
Maybe
roll
it's
Or
for
I can-
coming up
25.
Okay,
Millhouse.
All right. Do you want to gamble on a 25%, or do you want to guarantee a 10?
What I will say before anything of such importance goes ahead, do we need health potions?
We can't afford them.
How much are they, DM?
They're the standard GM pricing, but you will be rolling for each bundle. So I will say you can buy health potions as a bundle and roll once for it. You've already used your guarantee 25% though.
I think let's do this. Figure out how much money we have left over, and all of that goes into a diamond and some health potions and shit.
Okay.
And maybe
Okay,
keep
cool.
something for, living.
Travel.
Nah, I don't need that.
Else crime
This
is going to
podcast,
have
I
to
mean,
fund
you can sleep
our
on the floor.
hotel rooms.
So let me hit the numbers. It was 800. We need 10% off, was it?
Yeah, but do you want to... Well, we can guarantee 10%, but do you want to gamble on a 25? I need to
Once you roll, you can't change it.
I need to roll a...
No, it's not. That's not
17.
worth gambling it because then we just may not get that
Yeah.
item. Do you know what I mean?
Yep, fine. Okay. All right. I'll use the 10 on the second day for Arvis's
Gloves
gauntlets.
of Hill Giant Strength, was it? Or
Oh, I think they're the gauntlets of ogre power.
Okay.
10%.
So, anything else anybody's buying? Sai, Amulet of Health, and
Armor. And the armor.
armor.
I had a grimoire,
so,
ring of protection, and a wand of the war mage.
so I'll say let's go through each person and just quickly run through what they bought and what it does, because I think we've covered everything, so people on stream know, and I know. Cool. We'll go around Discord. So, Ben, Mercy. What has Mercy bought? What has it done? What does it do?
I actually realized I hadn't spent. So can I ask Casimir to roll one more item?
I sure can.
So I'm gonna try basically go into one vendor and I'm gonna try and see if I can get the discount on the Stone of Good Luck, which is 4,200.
It's 17 for you, so it's not the 25.
Okay. So that's 10%, but I think that still makes it affordable, so that's good. So Mercy got the Amulet of Health, increasing on to 19, and the Stone of Good Luck just about with a 10% discount.
And both of those items do.
And the Amulet of Health is increasing their con, and the Stone of Good Luck gives them +1 on saving throws and ability checks.
Okay. Casimir, what have you bought and what does it do?
The Arcane Spooky Grimoire, which is a +1 to spell save DCs and attack rolls. I have the Ring of Protection, which is a +1 AC, and also +1 to saving throws. And then I have the Wand of the War Mage, which is a +1 to spell attack rolls.
Very good. Pod, Eski, what have you bought? What does it do? Isn't it +1 to spell base DC as well? Sorry, did you say that?
No, the Wand of the War Mage is just attack rolls. The DC is
the
on
arcane.
the Grimoire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pod's a lot more simple. Amulet of Health again for Con 19 and +1 half plate. The fattest
Okay.
of the medium armors.
Harvest, with your great treasure,
Yeah.
what have you done?
I have, interestingly, run some calculations. I no longer possess the Ring of Jumping. I got a 0% discount for it anyway. It's worth getting rid of because I have the Gauntlets of Ogre Power, which add enough to my strength, which affects jumping. No need for the Ring of Jumping. Maths. I also have a Bag of Holding. If you don't know what that is in D&D, catch up. However, it basically is an extra dimensional space that allows you to carry lots of additional stuff at lots of additional weight, dimensions and weight. And then we have the Gloves of Thievery, which, to read what those bad guys do, these gloves are invisible while worn. While wearing them, you gain +5 bonus to dexterity sleight of hand checks. And dexterity checks make the pick locks a flat +5. So,
Very good. Very unfair.
He's investing to make money.
Investing in crime.
Prime Industries.
Business is booming.
Okay. Thank you, Arvis. Sai, Quan, what have you got?
So I'm the same as Pod. I've got an Amulet of Health and +1 plate. So that's bringing my Constitution back up from currently 8. So I hope. Otherwise, I've just spent a load of money on fucking nothing.
So,
Don't worry.
your minus stays the same. So the saving throws you have failed, which, by the way, please roll 3 saving throws, succeed. But your base has increased to 19. So you're now at 19 minus whatever your saves are. So yeah, Quan puts on this amulet, and the next day he looks less tired, less bite putting through. This amulet is clearly assisting him in whatever attempts he's making to resist this energy. So, Sai, if you message me the 3 saving throws for Quan, Constitution saving throws, I'll tell you what your current minus is, but I believe that should buy you at least a few extra saving throw fails, or quite a few more. So it's not set, it's 19 minus whatever your modifier now is. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Does that mean that Quan now cannot take off the amulet in Dane because...
There's a threshold where if Quan took off the amulet, Quan would indeed die, yes.
I see.
You've become Melisandre.
Yeah.
I think Pod at some point with Quan, when they're like putting the amulets on, he'd be like all excited, be like, "Look, we got the same!" And you'd notice that Pod is starting to look a bit like Benny from the Mummy, and he's got like 4 or 5 amulets. One's got a sigil of Kalimvor, one's for some reason got a sigil of Pelor. I've never asked him about it. The other one's the Amulet of Health, and he's also got another one. He's just stacking them.
Wait,
Sorry,
since when did you have Amulet of Pelor? You didn't mention wearing it.
He doesn't know it's an Amulet of Pelor. He just knows that it's an amulet. And
The little
it's
picture.
Of Pelor, yeah. So at the same time you got your sword, Pod got this. If Pod is, let's say for the sake of contingency, that Pod has only recently started wearing the Amulet of Pelor.
No, he's been wearing it the whole time. It's just been under his clothes, so you never noticed.
For the sake of, yeah, this is the first time you've seen it. As he puts on the Amulet of Health. One.
What does it look like, DM?
It's this kind of pointed star that you immediately recognize wherever they were around. A fairly simple amulet, but it's like a wooden amulet with kind of metal clamps on it and golden paint that doesn't seem to rub off or deteriorate in any way around the star.
Where and when did you get that?
Oh, I got it the time that I pulled the green thing out of you. Remember the curse? It kind of just materialized. And it just
Do I-
felt kind of nice. So I put it on.
Do I definitely know what this is, Jamie?
Yeah, 100%. You recognize the symbol. This is it's Palor's symbol.
Pod, you never said anything. You've been blessed. Blessed by Pelor.
And he kind of like looks at it for a second and he goes, "Who's Pelo?"
Uh, Does Pod not remember any of the conversations we had about Pelor?
He like remembers bits, but he kind of like he's got a good knowledge of all the gods in his small sphere, but outside of that, like his religion is surprisingly not that impressive. His knowledge, despite being a cleric, it's very hyper focused. He just has a +3. It's not outside of his little sphere. Like it's not. He hasn't got great knowledge. He's just
Okay, but we did have several conversations about how everyone was telling me my god wasn't real.
This is false.
Yeah, hence why he said, "Who's Pelo?" And then you kind of start. You go, "Oh yeah, your god, like your old ex-god. Ex-god, is that inappropriate to say?"
Well, it's difficult to say. I thought that perhaps Tyr was calling to me from a form I didn't recognize or couldn't recognize, but this is physical proof, perhaps, that what I felt or what I saw was, in fact, not in my mind.
I
And
mean,
he looks
something
like quite
definitely
smug at
happened.
that. He looked like if Casimir or Mercy or anyone are nearby, he like gives
They're
him the
doing
side eye.
maths. They're doing maths.
Okay.
Pod kind of like ponders over it for a second. He's like, "Oh, that's neat."
I wonder if there's someone that can help you understand what this does. Have you spoken to Casimir?
No, I have not.
Well, if you're intending on wearing it round your neck, as you have been, I would recommend that.
He kind of like tilts his head and thinks to himself for a moment and goes, "That's a good point, actually. I should probably know what I'm wearing. That would be somewhat helpful, wouldn't it?" I guess he didn't feel evil, and if you cast your mind back when the hag gave him effectively like a cursed item, he just pocketed it. He didn't even think about it. So there's a long precedent of Pod just wearing shit or taking stuff that could be really bad for him. He doesn't know. It's very seemingly quite careless about the kind of holy symbols that he decides to wear.
Well,
So
it
I guess he would turn and kind of like waddle off. He'd be like, "Casimir, Casimir, so, what's this amulet? Could you
I have
you
no
identify it?
idea. No, Arvis is your man for that, unless you want to get me an identify scroll.
Oh, I don't have one of those. Arvis!" He immediately turns around. "Where's that man gone?"
Doing crime,
Hey,
Pod.
Literally doing
He's
crime.
hard at work.
So eventually, Pod, you can track down this. The name of this item is Pelor's Beacon. It is an amulet, as you know, with the anti-tyrant and anti-domination magic and enchantments that you are aware via the stuff I sent you, which you may share should you wish. But this is indeed called Pelor's Beacon. Whoever discovers that might find that interesting. Is it Casimir? Is it Arvis? However, we can move to Pod. In running around, one of the people you speak to is Alara.
Mm-hmm.
These is during the 3 days. So the party's over, the coronation is preparing. Alara kind of looks over to Pod. Pod, I didn't realize you were so well connected. How are you doing? I've got... honestly, it's a little overwhelming, but are you okay? Are you settling in well? Are the accommodations to your liking? Are you happy?
he seemed kind of befuddled with this. Yeah, it's great. We're staying at the inn down the road. We just went shopping. Actually, it was fun. I don't come to big towns very often.
Oh, what did you buy?
Oh, and he excitedly begins to show off his amulets again, and then also
watched
like
it.
almost like preens over his new, very shiny armor that he's wearing under his like kind of slightly tattered robe that he's used to wearing, and he's got like the odd
Oh, I'm so
tidbits that he
glad-
always wears, but like underneath it is this splendid looking brand new half plate.
Oh, I'm so glad you were able to use the reward money. But Pod, forgive me. I've been speaking to Jarvis a little bit, and you come from money, don't you?
Kind of tilts his head a little bit. He's like, "Come from money? What do you mean?
You
as
said
in
that-
come from money."
Oh, sorry, it's a rather vulgar phrase. Your Jarvis was telling me that I should talk to you about all the positive things that the Credits Federation was able to do for their village and your village, and what they could do for the Stormlands, how they could help me. I understand Malik didn't win and they're not ruling, but they still intend to help me, and they said that you'd know about what they're capable of.
So while Alara's like saying all of that, the moment she mentioned the Creditors Federation, he kind of like his eyes go a little bit wide, and he kind of Vietnam flashbacks in the moment, like as the sound of drums begins to pound at the back of his head. He kind of shakes himself. He goes, "The Creditors Federation, yeah, yeah, I know them. I'm aware of them."
They said that they'd helped and invested in your village, and they want to do the same in the Stormlands for the Residium. Is this ringing familiar? Are
he
you
kind of
okay?
looks a little bit sort of like pensive for a moment. He goes, "This might come across as a tad awkward, but the Creditors Federation killed my brother and somewhat ruined my town. I'm not a huge fan of the
Oh.
place."
Alara looks entirely shocked, and is like, "Oh, they told me that your town was thriving and that your family
mean,
were well compensated, and
For some, it's
is that not
right?
true? Please tell me
Uh,
that. What's happened, Pod?"
And Pod would begin to talk about how, like, it was just the good old days, back when people lived in trees and all you needed was a good, sack of leather that you'd kick around in the fall and, like, go look for some particularly shiny mushrooms. And now it's all changed. Everyone's interested in their new toilets and fancy walls, and how just generally the entire town had changed since the Creditor Federation. How it went from this isolated kind of, picturesque little furbog town to new age, the Cotswolds, basically. But imagine made of furbogs.
And Aris looked, they installed toilets, and that was awful for you. But you said they killed your brother.
Yeah, that one's a little more complicated. So you see, there was a bit of a scuff, and yeah, he was set on fire, I believe. Yeah, well, it wasn't exactly him. It was someone else who was working with the Creditors Federation. I won't say who. I'd rather not. But
I'd rather you did. Was it Malik? Did you know?
It was
Malik?
not Malik. No, Malik has never been to my village. No, it was my aunt, and well, not really my aunt.
Your
I call
aunt
everyone my aunt.
killed your
I call
brother.
it's a bit funny. Yeah, kind of. Well, she wasn't really my aunt by blood, but everyone's kind of your auntie or your uncle in my town. It wasn't a very big town, to be honest. And yeah, she I guess she kind of went off the rails a little bit, and decided to fire a fireball at my brother and killed him. He looks a bit solemn.
Hold on. I'm so sorry. Is that why you left?
Mostly, yes. Mostly. Also, just things changed a lot. I didn't feel like I really belonged there anymore. So I decided I'd move on.
Do you feel like, they're offering quite a lot of money and investment and support. Do you feel I should say no?
I mean, it's you're the queen now. It's your choice. I wouldn't say
Steward,
that my
actually. I've asked not to be called queen. I think it separates me too much.
you're the steward. Yeah, I mean, you're.
Pod, I value your opinion.
That's the first time many people have said that to me. I get that, but I don't tend to make the best decisions. I will say so myself. I don't know if you should necessarily take my advice a lot of the time. Unless it's about specific things. I'm quite good when it comes to gods. Well, specific gods. Kind of specifically one god. But other than that, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that I know much about, ruling or leading. It's not really my thing. And I definitely don't know very much about money. I'm not good with money, so I wouldn't necessarily take my advice on money.
I see, Pod. Well, obviously they're quite disappointed that they'd lost, and circumstances around Malik's death. They've been asking, and some reassurance, or if I'm going to say that we shouldn't work together, it's going to be quite difficult for me. But if you really think that they're a negative influence,
well, I guess it comes down to that. It's good to have money, and I've been told that. So I reckon that you should think about having the money, but maybe if kind of like keep them on a leash. I wouldn't get in too deep with them. They're tricksy.
I see. Yes, I've been taught quite a lot about people can be tricksy during our time together.
But if you like toilets, then maybe I mean, there were definitely people in my village who, I guess...
I think a great many people like toilets. They don't base many decisions on it.
Yeah, but like really fancy ones that like flush by themselves. More than just a hole in the ground. Not that there's anything wrong with the hole in the ground. The hole is perfectly good. Chuck some peat on there, and then eventually you move it. You could turn it into a herb garden.
I never thought about turning it into a herb garden.
That's what we used to do.
I'll be careful, Pod, but thank you for your honesty.
Yeah, it's just be careful with those lot. They're a bit, well, quite money focused. I would say you can never trust someone who's too money focused, but I do spend a lot of time around some people like that, and they're quite trustworthy. So, it depends.
Absolutely. Thank you. On that topic, Arvis, you are shopping. You're making your way around town until suddenly someone throws a bag over your head, and you are grabbed from behind by several hands and taken to a room where you are sat on a chair, and the hood is whipped off, and there are several guards surrounding you outside. And Jarvis Fairwind is sitting across quite a large desk, writing some notes. Doesn't look up at you.
Oh, what are the charges?
It looks up and says, that word has two meanings. It could mean that we're about to ask you for some money, or that you've done something illegal. Guilty conscience, or feel like you owe us something. I'm fine with either.
Third term for charges. Sort of growls.
You
Perhaps
want
if
somebody
anybody
to be
knew he
interred
was
to your
the-
care?
Nah, mate.
You've expended my vocabulary for charges, so inform me, please.
Nothing a lowly carpenter would have much to say about.
Well, Arvis, I'm sorry if getting you here was under a bit of a bit rough, but honestly, I have a proposition for you, if you will.
Go on.
But The Credits Federation doesn't like to lose, but as I'm sure a man of your astute abilities would appreciate, we bet on all sides. But in this, it's undeniable that we lost, and we don't necessarily indulge in anything as selfish as vengeance, but certainly keep tabs on those who have got the better of us in the past. I would ask, you seem like a man who's amenable to a good deal. I simply wish to propose a good deal for you.
Oh, yeah, mate. I am. What you come crying to me for, eh?
I'd like to propose that you operate as a bit of an informant on you and your group's activities. I don't ask you to betray your friends' confidences or do anything physical to any of them. Just simply put that whatever would be public knowledge if we were always watching, you tell us, and we'll pay you handsomely for the privilege.
Well, in my line of work, we sometimes use words like handsomely, but the more experienced among us like to use numbers.
Well, every time you go to a new location, if you can find out one of our representatives, we operate most major banking networks in Lukai, you let us know why you're there, when you arrive, and when you leave, roughly what the local populace would have known you would have accomplished. And we'll pay you 1,000 gold each time.
Right. And if I were to ask what the use of such information might entail, considering, of course, the implications so close to...
Well, you've proven yourself to be a competent group who have... Sadly, Malik has departed us, and I'm sure that whatever he achieved or was meant to was difficult, but you managed to, and you beat him. So we simply wish to make sure that our interests are aligned with yours for the foreseeable future, and if ever they aren't, we have the opportunity to negotiate you with before any more adversity comes to our relationship. Imagine if you were to tell us that you'd arrived in a town and you were trying to achieve something that we didn't want to. It would give us an opportunity to let you know and maybe give you our perspective. That's all we want. An opportunity for first knowledge. Or advisor status. First buyer to whatever mercenary indulgence you're partaking in.
If we were to negotiate such an arrangement... information so consistently, and he begins, you can see the sort of abacus of his mind begins to engage in such an arrangement. Of course, we would be looking at cost per information, we'd be looking at a retainer, we'd be looking at a security fee and a secrecy fee. Are you sure you can afford this? He says, almost exasperated.
Oh, my Abbas, I'm sure I can afford a great many things of value, and I hope that you'll demonstrate your worth to us throughout this partnership, if it's one that you'd consider.
Well, I suppose if we can demonstrate your value beyond
My value is
what I
purely
can only
material.
assume is an opening offer.
It's material, Abbas. We are asking what your price is for this information. 1,000 gold per piece seems what we would consider reasonable, but I'm open to your suggestion.
In my line of...
He stops there before he finishes his sentence.
what I've heard along the vine of the grape is that piece of information is rather broken down into grapes, if you like.
It's in our interest to be on your good side, Arvis.
And for that reason, I would say a location would be a grape. 1,000 gold grape, sticking to your own prices. A purpose, another grape. A time, another grape. A number or quantity, that being a number of people, or a number of people being met, or a number of units being shifted, another grape.
He's writing this down, by the way. He's taking notes.
And, well, you see where I'm going. It's something of a vineyard.
So each piece of information you'd want extracted for 1,000 gold rather than the whole package.
Well, me? Oh, no, mate. You got me all wrong. I'm just going.
Oh, the
off
industry
what I've heard
standard.
here.
Apologies, yes.
Yeah, mate. You know, people making livings.
Absolutely. Well, Arbus, I'm sure you'd want to keep us happy too, would you not?
Yeah,
You want this
why not, mate?
arrangement to continue upon this basis. Very well. So we can go along with this. It looks down this plan. We obviously know what you're up to here, and your next place that you think you have interesting information. If you would come to us, I'm happy to communicate this terms to those above me, and we'll make sure this continues to be a mutually beneficial arrangement. Other than money, of course, Arvis, is there anything we could offer you that you're amenable to?
Well, I do suppose there are a couple of avenues which my mind has been lingering upon recently. Firstly, one would be contacts within certain industries of repute.
Certainly. What would they be?
Nothing too much, mate. Mild infrastructure, trade, dabbling in securities, simple things. Beyond
He
that,
smiles, almost as if he's very aware of what you're asking for. Arvis, I'm curious. What is your background?
carpenter, joiner, tradesman, jeweler, locksmith, you know, a few things here and there, mate. Just making
Many
the
talents.
end and this end do that.
I see. Well, Arvis, each time you come to us, with these grapes, as you put it, we can either have it be the price that we've agreed in gold or something else. But the gold is the standard. If we wish to pay the gold, we will pay the gold. If you wish to ask us and we prefer that price, we'll pay that price. Does that sound acceptable to you?
I suppose it does, mate. Now,
Wonderful.
typically with contracts like this, I might understand. that
But we can
there
get something
are
drawn up.
Yes, of course. But, in instances where, let's say, my anonymity, wrong choice of words. Let's say the implications of my whereabouts and such information that we may be trading becomes somewhat sensitive, in which case I might need not to share, in which case you may have to go without.
Well, Arvis, I'd argue that the more sensitive and the more important the information you have is to us, naturally, supply and demand would indicate our demand would go up. We may be willing to pay more, but should you constantly deny us what we deem more important, we would have to end our relationship, whatever that may mean.
And I suppose, mate, the crux of my question was, what would that mean to you? Oh my
Arvis, should you deny us once, on a matter of personal principle or significant importance, even if we increase our price, we'd understand. Deny us twice even. However, this arrangement must be beneficial to both parties, and often that means giving up something that you might not be appropriate, or you might not wish to. Or you wouldn't normally. However, I hope that's not the case. And don't worry, we're not going to send men after you. We just simply won't pay you, and we might not pay you again.
And those will be the terms of termination.
We'd let you know that we've decided this relationship is no longer mutually productive, certainly.
Well, mate, I can't see any reason. Why not?
Wonderful. I'm glad we come to some arrangement. And he reaches out his hand for you to shake.
Marvis scratches his ratty, his ratty chest, spits in his hand before it can be taken away. Just fucking
shakes it absolutely. Wonderful. Well, so they let you out and shown out of a bottom of a basement of some house you don't really recognize on the outskirts of town. Eyes slightly become accustomed to the sun and whatever that means for your future harvests. Wherever you go, you may seek out the emblem of the Creditors Federation and do with that as you wish.
let there be vibes.
And there be vibes. Sai, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
A quick one, potentially. Bran has made his way to Fort Valor. Bran, of course, the Captain Reader, we've said you before, and unable to kind of gain your attention at the party, has seeked you out and kind of flags you down as you're walking around town and says, Quan, congratulations! How was it? How are you?
I have been better, but yes, thank you. I appreciate your thought. We did indeed kill Razor, and for now, everyone is safe, so that's all I could wish for.
I'm so glad. I knew you'd be able to, and he kind of looks down at the amulet and looks at you and says, and your, I'm sorry, I'm at pains to ask, but your memories, your background is still as lost to you as ever.
Well, I have had glimpses somewhat, but I'm afraid...
Anything I can help with? Anything I can confirm or deny?
Well, Quine kind of takes a moment to think and says, you did mention we worked before, but if maybe how we parted, I would like to know.
Oh, yes, we were assigned. Well, admittedly, I heard rumors, but we were assigned to different kind of garrisons. I continued at Ironmore, you continued to Highwall, and I'd heard that you vanished one night. Deserting. I never believed it. Something must have happened. I
imagine
can't
so.
ask you about it. Yes, we parted on good terms. Why, I was glad to see you.
And if I may ask where you heard these rumors from?
Well, you know how men talk. It's from the garrison, from Ironmore. I never went to Highmore myself. I was never stationed there. When I was given leave, I came to Reed home, start a new life further away, and there's not much left of it now, as the fires and gunpowder and everything else sorts of that. But soldiers, the army, we have little to do. Train, watch, talk. Rumors, gossip starts.
Well, I'm sure there is a chance that that's all it was. Rumor.
I'm sure. I knew you. We fought together. I don't want to embarrass you, but you're brave and honest and good. And I still believe that.
Thank you. And I would like to say the same about you from what I've seen, although he kind of like looks up. My memory is still, you know.
Well, I know your priorities are different now, but I have little left here. I'm going to be returning home to Glencoldion, and you always told me you were from a small village near the woods nearby, and I don't know if it's would jog your memory, but if ever you do return, I'd be happy to show you and be your guide, perhaps. Maybe something will jog your memory there.
Well, that would be great. And he kind of catches himself as if remembering perhaps what his situation is right now, and says, "That would be great if I do decide to travel that way. I will of course let you know. Thank you." Did I
Absolutely. Sorry, Ron.
did I by any chance mention anything else aside from whereest I lived?
You mentioned a family, parents, a brother. It was a while ago, but I certainly remember you talking about home and loved ones. Thornvale, I think was the name, if I remember correctly.
I see. Well,
Also, I have to ask. Brom came to me recently, asking about you.
Rom did.
Yes,
What
I
did he
didn't.
ask?
Before he asked about you, I told him where I was from and where we'd fought together. He then asked what your home, well, after a series of other questions, where you came from. I didn't tell him. He was an odious little man, but is everything okay?
Well, that may have been a good decision. Thank you, Bran. I am not sure. I'm not entirely sure why he hates me so much. I think with the unfortunate happenings of shit, I can't even remember his name. Fuck.
Grudel.
Grudel, thank you. With Grudel's death, he seems to have taken it quite hard and, well, after he lost, even harder. I'd like to believe the best in people and that he's just tired and not in the best of places, given what happened to his group, but you never know.
Yes, he certainly seemed pointed in his questions after a time, and I felt uncomfortable answering. He didn't seem satisfied with my refusal, but as I said, all he knows is Ironmoor and Genkoldir, and they're quite big places. But I thought you should know.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate your discretion. I think perhaps Brom not knowing exactly, well, knowing more than I know about myself, that's probably a good thing. So I appreciate that, Bran. And I hope you have a smooth journey back. I hope that the journey home is what you hope. And he's kind of like not really sure like whether Bran has like a family or anything. He didn't really specify what he was going home
No,
for.
he's moved quite far away, so I hope I find something worth living for back there, because here was the retirement plan, and it burnt down.
Wait, what?
His whole village burnt down. Reed home is basically destroyed. So he's like, I hope I find something worth living for.
Read him.
Yeah.
Yes, and I am incredibly sorry if we played a larger part than we had hoped in that, Bran. I really do.
Honestly, I think what was left of the village, the people there deserved better. And I hope looks kind of over at House Kalim in the fort, and I hope Alara approves as. If you're fighting for her, I'm sure she's worthy, and I hope she proves it.
Did you say Ilara?
Yes.
Well, Ilara will be a very capable leader, I'm sure. Ilara has proven herself in many ways, and we're all very fond of her. If there was anyone I would have to choose to be in her position, it would indeed be her.
I'm sure your judgment is correct. Until we meet again, Quan, I hope that either you find your memories or you come looking for them, and I'm more than happy to do whatever I can to help you.
Juan gives Bran a big smile and says, "Thank you." And
He kind of puts his hand out to kind of shake it, whether or not you do it.
yeah,
Of course.
yeah. Well, oh, that's a good point. I forgot. I keep forgetting about this. Yeah. Okay. I am gonna probably nod politely to Bran. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna take his hand and if Bran feels anything, Quine is just gonna pull his hand away quickly and say, "Oh, sorry, just a minor side effect that I've been experiencing since our fight with Razor. I'm sure it'll disappear in no time."
He takes back. So looks down his hand. I understand. I hope you find a cure for that and whatever else ails you. I'm glad I got to see you again, Quan. It never sat right with me that whatever the rumors were, and I'm glad to see that you're still you. Memories absent. And with that, Bran will leave.
Bran, not Brom.
Bran, not Brom. So with that, we will get to the morning of the coronation. Much of Fort Valor has been.
I had a conversation I wanted to have quickly. We can make it fast if
go
actually.
ahead.
But,
no, go ahead.
Very much the morning after the party.
Yes.
Zol told Casimir he should ask who's coming to represent his home preserve.
Yes.
He shall knock on, I think, Alara's dad's door. I think he doesn't really trust Alara to know what's going on. So he'll go to Caleb, knock on the door and say, "Hello, it's me."
He opens it up, looks a bit bright-eyed. Oh, Ivor. No, sorry, my daughter told me. Casimir, yes, sorry.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Hello. Good to re-meet you. I have hopefully what is a fast question. Obviously, the Archons are to be attending the coronation, which we are all terribly excited about. I can't help but think that Sacramar lacks an Archon. Will be representing the second preserve. I assume it can't be the High Praetor, can it?
Oh no, actually, it would be the Archon of the. No, kidding, of course. Could you imagine? What a scandal!
Be quite yes, Archon for a god that doesn't exist. Yes.
Yes. No, unfortunately, the High Praetor is unavailable.
He's not coming.
No.
You're certain he's not? He's not going to be attending.
I have been told, unfortunately, that he is indisposed for. I wasn't really given a reason, but you don't really question when people as important as him, of course.
No, not at all. Good, great. Would you happen to know who's coming in his stead? Surely he's so irreplaceable. Are they sending anyone?
Yes, actually, I was understood it's quite funny. I know that you took on this namesake. I'm sure there's no connection, although if there is, probably should have told you. I understand Lady Caria Montague, leader of the House of Law, will be making an appearance as the representative.
The House of Law.
Come again.
Lady Montague.
Caria.
Oh, do you know her?
No,
Oh, what a wonderful reunion.
we've never
You
met.
impersonated her son, of
Caleb.
course, yes.
I did impersonate her son.
ah.
Yes, I've never met her. I've never met
You've
him.
met her son?
No.
Oh, okay. I understand, yes.
No, I've not met her son. Well, it depends what you mean by met. I mean, I came by his signet ring off the black market, but I, haven't met him.
Oh, I understand, yes.
Well, thank you for that.
Anything I should know?
I'm going to let Lara tell you that. Where is she?
I'm unsure. In her room, perhaps?
I will
It's quite
talk to you
early.
later, Caleb. Goodbye. He walks out really, really quickly and almost like sprints to Alara's room and knocks on it very urgently. He's like, Alara, I really need to talk to you right now.
Alara opens the door, and this is the night immediately after the party. It takes a couple of knocks. You see Alara enter. Alara is pale-faced. There a slight hangover, and she's keen to not open the door too far. No. It's in she's hungover to fuck.
Yeah, I know. I was going to ask because
Oh, God, it's so early. She's very keen not to open the door too far.
It's 7. It's lying.
Listen, I saw you drinking so much last night. Why are you awake? What do you want?
I'm always up at 6.
Yeah, I'm always grateful for your presence, but why now?
Ilara?
Yeah.
My false mother, Lady Ivor, or Lady Carrie Montague, is coming to your coronation. She...
I see, and she
is
seems
the
to take a couple of
one-
moments. And her eyes go wide. She's like, oh.
She's put
But
out...
she doesn't know, right?
Well, she's put out a decade's worth of wanted posters for me. So
right.
there's that.
She doesn't know you impersonated her son, but you are wanted in something. Okay, I see your problem.
The name Casimir Crossley is infamous. My face is on every street corner by way of wanted poster, the charges of which are numerous and terribly severe, Alara.
What did you do again?
If you listen
What
to
are you
that,
accused of?
grand larceny, terrorism, arson, murder, the list does go on. It's long.
Okay, so you're not attending the coronation, or
No, I'm attending the coronation. Alara, I'm not going to disguise myself. I'm going to look her in the eye and tell her to fuck off. And I would like for you to support me in that.
And this is the praetor who you want to kill as representative.
Yes. Thankfully, he's not coming. If he was coming, I'd be in trouble.
Oh,
I
God, I need coffee.
No, you don't. Coffee dulls the mind.
Coffee is the mind killer.
There's the small
He looks up at you and says, Casimir, you have done me and this place a great service. And this isn't Sacramar, and I believe you over whatever they say. I can offer you my protection, whatever that means. She kind of says this through slightly pierced open eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But you are exposing yourself in a certain way.
I wasn't planning on exposing myself in such ways, Alara, but I appreciate it. Please don't let her arrest me.
She certainly can't arrest you here, but that doesn't mean she won't know where you are.
No, well, maybe it's about time I threw down the gauntlet. I've been hounded for well over a decade, and I'm fed up. Thank you.
I'm glad there will be no political ramifications for my coronation already. Thank you, Casimir, for letting me know.
Well, there will be plenty.
Always better to be prepared.
Well, it's better to be prepared. And please remember there will be plenty of ramifications. I mean, for instance, your new friend Talos' Archon. One assumes you'll have to get along with them.
Quite possibly.
Have fun. Oh, he pulls out a really large list of papers. Maybe for your perusal this morning, I had to think about shipping routes and potential sources in and out of the Stormlands. I thought about new infrastructure. I detailed quite a few of them in the trip home, but here's the documentation. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Here's how I would rule the place if I were you.
Takes it. And this is part of your manipulation that you told me about, right?
No, this is just some friendly advice. The manipulation, as I've done you a favour and you so feel encouraged to support me as I stare down the face of my evil false mother. Is it manipulative if I tell you? I'm not sure. You can mull on that one.
I understand. Okay. I'll review these over the next day or two. Thank you, Casimir.
Have a good morning. And one more thing, Lara, I'm sorry
Or
about Quan. I didn't
face
mean...
goes bright red.
I'm sorry it turned out this way. Please
I'm
don't
sorry
feel
too
bad.
that I won't have somebody like his wisdom as my advisor.
Don't feel bad. You're more
If you
than
could
enough.
persuade him, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
I don't think it would be appropriate for me to persuade him, given that you know how he...
To be my advisor?
Maybe it is too early for this conversation, Alara. Sleep well.
Laura shuts the door. Casimir, with your slight perception, you might hear that there's more than one person in that room.
What?
Bruh.
We'll move on swiftly to the day of the coronation.
Oh my god.
Wait, can we?
Nice.
I was going to say, can we see over the intervening 3 days whether we can fix Quan?
Oh, okay. I was
I'm
fine. That's
shocked!
fine. What are you going to attempt to do over the intervening 3 days about Quan?
I mean, subject to what everyone else's ideas, including Quan's consent. Ideas I had were to beat Quan to 1 HP to try and leech some of the latent magic from him.
You're going to beat me to 1 HP.
I'm just throwing them out there. Although
What
also,
are you trying to achieve?
you know, like getting Quan to use some of the magic himself in some sort of magical.
It was like
leech.
it's like an anime when like they try and activate the main character by like putting him in a life or death situation. Same concept,
Yeah.
just push you off a cliff and see what happens.
Yeah.
Quan has to agree to this plan. I will be
He
honest.
does.
Either you die
You
or
guys
you
can
summon
discuss it.
Gababunta. We don't know which one it's going to be. But
Well, I
it
don't
could be
know
either.
how. Okay, I'm gonna suggest all of these, including then just attempting to like use Casimir to like test transfer some of the blood magic
So-
into the lantern.
I think over the 20 days of travelling, Casimir's probably tried a lot. Like, quite a lot. So one of the things I was doing in that trip was trying to use Vitality Shift and poke around and see if there's any, like, ritually stuff or... But I think on his end, he probably feels like he's out. I think that's accurate, DM. I think that's what you told me. I landed on, I just needed something better as a conduit that wasn't me. He's gone. Anyway, that's where I think it's at.
Okay.
Oh, he messaged
Maybe
me.
there's
He
a-
messaged me yes.
Okay. Maybe maybe there's some kind of role we could do to kind of put our heads together as a plan. I'm just thinking like, is it a case of like there's not enough people kind of being the conduit, or is it a case of like
So
I don't know.
I rolled quite high on an Arcana check, and the guidance I got was unhelpfully vague, but our DM, Lord and Saviour, said I needed something else in the middle that wasn't me, something like grounding that we could leech, you know, lightning bolts off through that wouldn't vaporize. I don't know, it's a vague analogy, but there just needed to be something else in the middle that we just didn't have.
Would that thing be like a sacrificial thing, basically?
I
that the vibe?
don't know. DM, help us. You're muted though.
You're muted.
So it could be sacrificial if you wanted that thing to die. Or it could be something powerful enough to be that conduit.
No, I think I've landed on that we probably need an Archon or something because it ain't a level 6 wizard, much as it pains me.
Okay. Okay, I
Alright.
guess if that's the conclusion that we come to, then Mercy kind of like sadly lets the 3 days go by, kind of continues to think to themselves, try and find an answer, but ultimately fails.
Is there something we can roll, DM? Is there more information we could roll for?
Certainly, you could roll Arcana again.
Okay.
With help
So far.
action?
With the
Yep,
help,
sure.
sure. Okay, that was it. 10 plus 18.
18. The energy, ultimately, you know that it can just leave. I suppose it's the vitality shift takes it from somewhere to somewhere else, and your musings would be you need to encourage it in some way to leave Quan, however that might be, or to transfer it from somewhere to somewhere else. Obviously, the Whirlwind Lantern exists as a potential reservoir of that power. However, the encouragement to just leave, clearly it's living within Quan. Vitality shifting it outward would still go through you. So your vitality shift is a way to get it there. It just you would need grounding there. Your alternative is to find some way to have it just leave. But you don't know how to kickstart that.
Without vitality shifting it and killing myself.
Without, yeah, like it's the only thing you know how currently because it's the way you manipulate energy and that type of energy. You know that there are some spells that would draw with on that. Necromantic spells, healing spells, as they are. Clearly, as you've seen, Quan is healed by this. But this amount of magic leaving in one sense, it doesn't... It's slightly beyond academic literature.
Yeah.
Could we do some like small tests, Juan? Yeah? I don't know.
Yeah,
So like
I'd be open to it as long as you're not beating me to an inch of my life, yeah.
yeah, I mean just like I don't know. Yeah, hurt Quan a significant amount, then Casimir does this vitality shift and see whether Casimir notices it making any difference.
I mean, do you have to hurt me a significant amount, or will a small amount do?
Should we? Yeah, I mean we could try like a small
I
amount.
mean, whatever you think is gonna work. Like, I'll regain the HPs, so whatever you want, I guess.
Yeah.
The emotional
make-
effects of being beaten up.
Yeah, I don't think I think we reach a point where it's just like it's not working. But I think Mercy would suggest, you know,
Further experimentation.
yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So do
Does
you
it
want to
make
beat the
any
shit out of Quan?
I'm not gonna beat. I'm just gonna like maybe I just like punch him twice.
Quan heals naturally from this, however much damage
Yeah.
you do, but there's no effect on the energy. I would say that for all of you, unless you knock Quan out, there is no effect. But upon
Yeah.
knocking Quan out, Quan is required to make a saving throw.
Yeah, no. We don't knock Quan out. I think at the point that it becomes like, you know, bloodied, that you know, even that far. I guess the last thing Mercy would do is like try and bring Pod or like talk to Pod because Pod was the one who did this in the first place, and so like reverse engineering how Pod transferred it from this container into Quan might hold the key to figuring out how to get it out. Does that yield any sort of? Does Pod have any insight in this?
Pod, you can certainly describe the feeling you had, and you can make a
Yeah.
wisdom saving throw.
A wisdom saving throw.
Come on, roll good.
16 was the wisdom saving throw.
You just remember feeling like the orchestra, and as you touch, presumably at some point touch Quan's shoulder or chest, or you feel that energy thrumming inside Quan, but you've lost the ability to shift and move it. But you can describe what it felt like to the others.
I mean, Pod would explain that it was a very in the moment kind of thing where you could just feel like for a split second, you could channel the energy in a direction. And that was it. It was just a split second, and it was literally as the orb was exploding.
And listen, I've shifted energy out of Quan before to heal myself at the end of that battle. didn't even register in the amount he has left over. It's not like if we continually brought the injured to Quan and I shifted it out from him to them, it would even scratch the surface of what he has in them. I would burn out far, far before Quan did.
Well, I think we've now reached the point then where your theory, waiting for the Raven Queen's Archon, is our last resort for saving Quan.
And we must keep the other Archons and your council away from him. They will try to kill or use him.
Quan is so magically entangled that his destiny, his choices, his future is difficult to foresee with any degree of certainty. Similarly, for you, Casimir, I would suggest that the two of you remain away from Pod and Alvis and myself, so that your choices are less visible. Is how we find mortals.
Ah, solitary isolation it is.
We don't know anyone will try to do anything. I mean, perhaps people in the Archons, and he's saying that with clearly no idea who the Archons are or how they behave. Maybe they will be reasonable and we don't have anything to worry about. And if we do, then I'm sure I can protect myself.
I'm sure Saul's brother is a very rational and reasonable man.
Well, someone in the family had to take it, so...
I feel like it
Well-
runs in the family. My bet is he's monstrous.
Thankfully, we don't have to interact or entreat the Archon of Tiamat's aid. The Mother of Ravens is our goal, and I have heard her to be a kind and understanding, if somewhat cold at times, person.
Oh, she's the best, don't you worry. She'll sort it right out.
Well, unless she feels that Quan is better off dead. In which case...
Pod kind of pauses and he's like, that is not a non-0% chance.
Indeed.
I hadn't considered that.
And we can tell her to fuck off as well and ask another one.
But, I mean, she definitely wouldn't want someone to die from, blood magic. That's definitely not okay. So
Exactly.
I think odds are in our favour.
I feel if there's anywhere in this world that would know about blood magic and its intricacies, it must be someone from the Sixth Preserve. The City of the Dead feels like the right place to go, no? She must know. Well, let's see.
Casimir,
Anyway.
this practice, that phrase, I would warn you to be careful whom you use that in front of.
Oh, I will be, don't worry. You don't need to tell
And
me
all of
twice
you.
about politicking.
Mortals have definitely been cheered for less. The practice of this abomination is truly a crime against Severus. I'm not surprised that it is rare or ununderstood, but indeed there are many similarities with the Matron of Ravens, and perhaps her practices in the Sixth Preserve will shed some light on this.
I can only hope. Is it the Sixth Preserve? Maybe I've counted wrong. I don't know. Fifth? Sixth? Whatever. The one that is the Dead's Journey. That one. That's the one I mean.
It's 1, 2,
Long
3,
one.
4. You're both wrong.
Wow, it's 4.
I'm a sheep. I just copied
Sorry.
three.
I was wrong. Sorry, I
You
don't
are
know the
wrong.
map.
Well,
You don't all know them by heart. Sorry.
on the topic of the coronation, I know that I've said I will remove myself as far as I physically can should the worst happen, but I want you to know I don't expect anyone to help me. I mean, except maybe Pod. Pod, this is partly your fault, if not entirely, but I appreciate everyone must have their own priorities. And like I said, I wouldn't expect anyone to... He's like a loss for words, but he does look guilty that whilst people are planning, for asking is it the Raven Queen's person?
Yeah.
Yeah. Archon, right? That's who we're planning to ask? The
Yeah.
Archon of the Raven Queen? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Also, by the way, Jamie, if Alara sat with Fazor, I will personally take that as a hate crime, and you will need to prepare some new NPC
No,
characters.
no.
She's
She
me
did.
too.
She did.
Me
No,
too.
no. I will let you guys know off stream who that is, and it's not a
Can't
man.
believe it. Go
Good
off,
for her.
Queen. Fuck men. She's in her
Oh my
fuck
God.
men arc.
Guys, I turned her into a lesbian.
Also, she was already bi. There's no stereotypes here.
Nice. Nice.
One doesn't have that
lovely.
power over her.
Exactly.
She's her own woman. She is not made
True.
by... yeah.
You know how powerful I
She
am right
is
now.
not controlled by men or a man.
I could turn a dozen women into lesbians. That didn't quite come out how I...
You're set.
Sorry,
You're
okay.
filled with a
love-
sense of dread at the homophobia.
I love that for you, man.
Oh my god. So many ways to interpret that.
Well, when Quan expresses this sentiment, as much be like, no, like I said, I want the fixing you, that feat to be attributed to me. It would be fantastic. I'll be famous. More famous than I already am. Infamous. I'm infamous. But I'm working on it. Don't worry,
Well,
Quan.
whatever your reasoning, Casimir, thank you.
I have your back.
Not so impressed at that, but...
Very good. Anyway, I need to go to my fitting, and I will see you later.
Okay. Two things will happen on the coronation day. Well, given the time, we'll deal with the first one, which is that Yasivu and the Order of Reapers will indeed be in presence and require Mercy's attendance, which we'll deal with next session. Mercy, you can figure out how you want to do that. Instead, we will deal with the coronation, the introduction, the description of everybody there, and we will leave that as the hook for next session, as you can all ponder what this means. So, I will let each of you describe the outfit you wear. Mercy, we'll leave you whether or not you actually attend to the next session.
Okay.
The grand hall where the coronation is to take place. Curiously, it's where you many months ago had dinner. Slightly, some of the walls have been taken out, literally knocked down to make it look there. High ceilings have been adorned with the Oath of Prejudices, not the Oath of God.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Thank you, fam. But everyone can recover from fam's savagery in the chat before we continue. Stained glass windows have been installed, which filters the various light through to the sky. Ethereal patterns cover the marble floor. At the center of this hall now. The table gone. There's a slightly raised dais, upon which a central throne, carved wood from the Stormland, engravings from Talos across it. Not a masterpiece of craftsmanship, but nonetheless functional. Ilara has made it clear that this is not to be a rulership, but a stewardship. Surrounding the central throne are 12 elegantly crafted chairs, each representing one of the revered positions or previous positions held by Archons of Lukai. These chairs are slightly elevated above the central throne. The air is filled by a sense of anticipation as distinguished guests, nobles, and citizens from across Lukai, some as important as the Archons may be to the story that you are about to undertake over the next couple of months, gather. Banners representing the various regions and factions of Lukai. You make your way in. Could you all please describe what you are wearing to this ceremony? And we would, of course, start with Casimir, who I believe Clued has drawn art for.
Wait, you're making... Okay, hang on. Let me swap
Wait,
over. later.
do we have to do this session? Should we
No,
not
you can do it
open
next session. That's fine. That's fine. We can do it next session.
'Cause then we
I
can-
feel like that will set us up.
Yeah.
Fine, we will do this next
He's still
session.
getting
In which
dressed. Do you know how long his hair takes? He's got prestidigitation and mage hand, but it takes hours, man.
case, I will ask you, do you want to do the descriptions of the Archons now or next session?
Now.
One vote for now.
I want to know.
We will end it. The rest of you can vote.
Wait, what are we voting? Sorry, I just
Whether we end the session now or I describe the Archons and then we end.
No, I'd say save it for next session because then we'd have to remember all the description and it will be much fresher if you describe it right before we go into it.
I agree with that one.
Okay.
What's Alara
2-1?
wearing? We've seen
You
her
don't know, she hasn't
backstage.
arrived.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, in which case, that's fine. We can do the whole coronation as its own session. We've done shopping. You guys have done some roleplay considerations. You've caught up. You've already betrayed the party for money. And perhaps, depending on whether or not you're being truthful or not, been approached. And we will begin next session. We won't open up the coronation. We will open up on Mercy being asked to attend a meeting with the leader of his order. Yasavu, who, if you'd watched the prequel one-shots we did, was the one advocating most strongly for Lilith's immediate murder and shearing.
Yes, to all aberrants.
Not tolerant of aberrants, indeed. And that is where, obviously, Mercy will decide whether or not you wish to attend and what you're going to say during that meeting. Everyone else, we will catch you next week, describing the Archons and set up maybe the next couple of storylines and save Quan, perhaps. But thank you, everybody. Hope you had fun. We're ending at 10:30, which is a reasonable time to end, not early. And I will catch you all soon.